How was your lab session yesterday?
Pretty good, pretty good. We made more samples. We made about 16 bars to be sent for lab testing. So we're doing our final round of lab testing for our new finalized formulation so that we can verify the nutrition content.
2 new flavors, right?
Yes. We have 2 new flavors coming. Almond Nutella and matcha as well.
How did it taste?
No, we haven't tried out the new flavors yet. Yesterday we were just making the the old batch one so that we can send for lab testing.
Nice. Okay. Thank you everyone for being early. You are here for the Entrepreneurship Talk series with Ultimate Nutrition. We will begin very shortly. I think there are quite a few students who is joining us from the bootcamp. So I think they'll be here very shortly. So let's give them a few more minutes. Okay.
So this year's EAP, how many teams are you guys expected to take?
Yeah, so we just had as you know, students will go through the bootcamp first. This time we had a record number of signups, and then after that, those who are interested will put in the application. I think we are expecting about 12 teams in semester 2, right? So yeah, that's quite a lot. I think last year also we had quite a bumper crop of students attempting, right? So this year also, we're seeing quite a lot of more and more students who are interested in entrepreneurship and wanted to give it a shot, right? So therefore, right, we thought, hey, we should put in a lot more content, right, in our programs, and then try to get alumni of EIP, right? Given that we have been running this for a few years now, to come back and share and also, if possible, right, mentor, some of the up and coming teams. So what we're trying to do here, it's what we call a whole ecosystem approach. I'm sure Mr. New have shared with you before. So bringing in industry partners, staff, RP staff who have the right domain expertise, right, to all come and chip in and help our startups and our students coming through.
Right.
Okay, right. We are about time. Let me begin. All right. So thank you everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's entrepreneurship talk, right? Brought to you by Republic Poly's Office of Entrepreneurship Development, or OED for short. For those joining us for the first time, a quick introduction about us. We aim to build the entrepreneurship ecosystem in RP with a greater focus on growing RP startups and supporting students and alumni who have chosen the entrepreneurship route. In line with RP's vision statement to nurture entrepreneurial and innovative professionals, OED seeks to promote the entrepreneurial culture that encourages creativity, innovation, and enterprise, right, among the RP community. So today, we are very pleased to have a recent graduate from RP, Gavriel. He's a co-founder of Ultimate Nutrition with us. So Ultimate Nutrition is a food tech startup. They create tasty, nutritious, and sustainable protein bars from crickets. Right. So they embarked on RP's Entrepreneurial Immersion Program, EIP, just last year, right, and has since gone on to win several awards, such as the National Youth Entrepreneurship Award, and as well as the overall champion in the IDEA Entrepreneurial Challenge 2021. Right. So today we are going to talk about how they got started, what was their experience like through the Entrepreneurial Immersion Program, EIP, and then of course some tips on how to get started as a student entrepreneur. Right? There will be a Q&A session in the last 15 minutes, but if you have any pressing questions, just type them in the chat, right, and then I can facilitate. So Gavriel, over to you now. Share about more about yourself and what Ultimate Nutrition is about.
Sure. Thanks, Wilson. So thanks everyone for joining this talk today. So Okay, let me just share my slides first. So I'll just do a brief sharing about ourselves first before we can get into the dialogue. Can you see the slide? Can you guys see the slide, Mr. Wilson?
Yep. Loading. Yes. Okay. I see it.
All right, great. So just a quick introduction about myself. I'm the co-founder and the chief executive of Ultimate Nutrition. We just like what Mr. Wilson has introduced earlier, we went on the EIP program. We finished the EIP program last year, and we have been in this business, this startup for about a year already. So I'll just be sharing our journey, what we do in today's session. So just a quick overview again about what we do. So we are Singapore's first startup that is creating tasty, nutritious, and sustainable food products from insect protein. Yes, insects. So starting off with the problem about what we're trying to solve and how it got started. It is that because we recognize that the current meat production is unsustainable, and since the world's population is going to keep increasing, right? So if we keep on using the current meat production, it's not going to be sustainable in the long run, because there's problems like food insecurity, right? Rising food prices, and then the current food livestock, for example, they uses a lot of land, a lot of bioresources, so it causes environmental degradation, and as you all know, natural resources are not infinite as well. So that is when we realized that, hey, there is a need for alternative protein sources, and this is like the start of our journey. This is where we start exploring potential solutions to it. So this is when next is about how we come up with our solution. So our solution to the problem of unsustainable meat production is insect food supplements, right? So we convert sustainably grown crickets into foods of the future. So as you guys can see from the picture on your left here, so these are just some of our products, some of the packaging, some of the look and feel of our products. So we convert them into nicely modern looking sustainable supplements for people. Hello? Sorry, did I got cut off?
Yeah, it just got cut off, but I can hear you now.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Sorry about it. I stopped at the crickets, right? Hello?
Yep. We
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah, so moving on to the next question about our crickets. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about what insects we use, are they safe, things like that. So we actually our crickets are we use our crickets have many certifications. So they're the only halal certified crickets in Thailand. So we make sure that we use safely produced and ethically produced crickets. And I think many of people are wondering, like, what do crickets actually taste like? It doesn't taste anything weird. It doesn't taste unpleasant at all. So the cricket powder itself just has a very slight nutty taste. So it's perfect. You can perfectly treat them like how you would treat like your normal whey protein you get from GNC, for example. And yeah, the crickets are free of any preservatives, hormones, or any chemicals. So it's very, very like natural. Yeah. So the next big question is why cricket, right? So why cricket protein? Why insect protein in general? So I think to summarize, there's two main points, like why we think that we decided to go with cricket protein, and why we believe that cricket protein is a food of the future. Because number one, it is very nutritious. So it is not just rich in protein, right? It contains 3 times more protein than beef. That's quite a lot, 3 times more protein than beef, and not just protein, but also other essential micronutrients like iron, vitamin B12, and things like that. So it is a really like an all-in-one nutrition supplement that can really help developing countries that don't have access to food and nutrition. And then the second part is a harm to the environment. So crickets, compared to growing your cows, chicken, and pigs, right? The crickets, these insects require much less land and over 2,000 times lesser water to get the same amount of protein, as you would compared to farming a cow. And the best part is that they produce much less greenhouse gases compared to this livestock animal. And as you all know, the problem of climate change is now worse than ever, and this is a very serious problem for the world is trying to solve, that the world is actively trying to find a solution to solve lah. So yeah, so I think that cricket is the food of the future and has the potential to solve all these problems. Next is just about our traction. So ever since we finalized the development of our products about February this year. Ever since then, we've been featured by almost all the big media outlets in Singapore, like Channel News Asia, Straits Times, Taobao, things like that. So it is like a affirmation and encouragement for us because before that we were thinking about whether would there be anyone that really care about what we're doing, would people even be interested about insects, right? But hey, it turns out that actually the market response was quite good because a lot of journalists, a lot of independent journalists approached us and they're waiting to see when we launch our products and things like that. So yeah, these are just some of the media outlets that we are being featured in. And also in terms of orders, sales, right? So that's the most important part. We actually have a lot of orders from a wide niche of companies like JTC, Green Collective, Petronas. So a lot of people are interested to place like bulk orders with us and interested to sell and promote our products to a wider group of audience. So just sharing a bit about general stuff about how RP or OED really help shape us for success. So I think that since we're all from RP, I think we know that RP has a problem-based learning approach, right? So this I think is a very big advantage when you guys are moving into entrepreneurship because problem-based learning really sets you guys up to improve your problem solving and critical thinking skills. And this is what entrepreneurship is about, right? Finding a problem and solving it with a solution. That's essentially one-liner about entrepreneurship. And then second part is about knowledge that could be that could be converted into working solutions and products. For me, I studied food biotechnology, so it's just in line with this what I'm doing in Ultimate Nutrition. So basically, I use what I learned in my diploma in food science to actually use them to make literally make this to grow this startup from what I've learned. So I think it's very important to try to get as much technical knowledge in your diploma and then see how you can your business idea, try to shape it according to what you learn because then it will be more applicable. And third part, I think as you guys should already know, entrepreneurship immersion program, which put a star there because it's one of the most important part of our journey that really help us and really set us up for all the achievements so far. So I think I wouldn't share much more on EIP. It's you guys for you guys that already went through the bootcamp today. I think it's a good first step, and you guys should definitely consider going for this program lah. And then just some pictures as you can see on the left. It was us just sharing a few days, I think last week with NUS. So NUS Enterprise had a webinar and invited us to speak there about food, the food industry and things like that. So, and also on your right, it's about the National Youth Entrepreneurship Awards that I won this year. So again, I think these are all just a source of encouragement and affirmation that we're on the right track, and and the big potential that our startup has moving on. Okay, so moving into the EIP part, which I think many of y'all would potentially go into as well, which I think will be a very exciting journey. So this is EIP was basically how we started. As you guys can see on the left there, this is the business incubation space. So this is the office that we started from scratch, right? This is so it was a small office then, very small office, like the size of a classroom, and then we had our desk right behind me there. But since then they have this room has been changed, and then now there's a bigger office for all the EIP students, so you guys can look forward to that. And then you can see some pictures of us doing R&D in our food lab. So it was a lot of trial and errors, and then you can see some pictures of the early protein bars that we created. So we worked from scratch for the formulation. There wasn't much recipes for us to refer to online, so we had to do everything from scratch and do a lot of research and trial and errors. And we're happy to get the two flavors that we have obtained so far. Yeah, and that's about it for this short sharing, I guess. So if you guys are interested to know more, you can head to our website, or if you guys want to contact me, just email me or add me on LinkedIn. But other than that, I think that's about it for now. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to voice them out. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Gabriel. So, like Gabriel has mentioned, if you have any questions, just type in on the chat channel. But I'll really like to start a conversation off with Gabriel to ask a little bit more in detail, right? Take us right back to the beginning, right? You had also attended the boot camp, I think was in December 2019, right? So how did you get started? Like, what was your early work, your early prototype? I mean, were you like playing around with crickets, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I think like before started this project, I just decided to like sometimes in class in my diploma they do teach us like how to make some stuff like make some food products, some sample food products. Can be a lot of things, whether it's pasta sauce, bread, and things like that. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can try to make some form of like novel product using what I've learned, and then linking back to the need for alternative protein problem that we were trying to solve. It led us to this solution of insect food products, and then we had to go with the accepted form of we wouldn't want to feed people like the roasted crickets, for example. So we want to change them into something that's more acceptable and more can be used easily by people, like can be consumed easily. So that was our first step.
All right. Thanks for that. So just curious, like many of our students here, they attended the boot camp this morning, right? And they were sort of working on concepts, right, in relation to this thing we call the problem solution fit, right? Such as defining the problem, a customer persona, value proposition. Tell us the story of your journey and how you went about applying these concepts in Ultimate Nutrition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think problem solution fit is a very, very important concept, in entrepreneurship. So for us, definitely we've done some form of problem solution fit. So before we started this project, we like sent out just a quick survey to everyone to gauge their interest and what flavors they would like to do. And so for us, what we did differently is that we didn't focus too much on getting all the validation, but rather we did it in parallel with our product development. So every time we do our development, we every round we did, for example, every version of our prototype, we will do a quick problem solution fit to say, okay, does this meet the problem that we're trying to solve? Is it nutritious enough? Is it sustainable in any way? If it's not nutritious enough, it defeats our purpose of being a nutritious supplement, right? So we do round two, what we do, we add more protein in it. So that's how we do. So I think most important is that it shouldn't be like a one-off thing. Problem solution fit isn't like a one-off thing, but rather it keeps going in parallel with your product development process and throughout your journey.
And you went out of your way to speak to industry players, interview customers to get their feedback.
Yes, definitely. I think most like what I think I haven't shared, but like how we got initially how we got the cricket fly is that literally like our mentor provided knew someone in the industry, and then he just set up a meeting, and then the next day, the first day of EIP, I just went down to them and I just pitched to them like about our project, our proposal. It wasn't even a project, it was just a proposal. And then they were interested, and then so they decided to supply us the insects. But subsequently as well, we had to meet a lot of industry players and had to reach out to them and had to a lot of meetings and things like that.
Okay, great. So students, you hear it. So we to get problem solution fit, it's not just you and yourself, right? You've got to go out there, speak to people, speak to potential customers, interview them, so that they can guide you, right, to find the problem solution fit. Okay. So second question, Gabriel. Right, the structure of EIP, as you know, it's quite unique, right, in a way that it's 20 to 24 weeks, right? It's quite open. There isn't a set sort of assignments. There's no final exam, right? Did you and your teammate John feel lost? How did you figure out what to do next or stay motivated throughout the 20-24 weeks?
Yep. So I think it's important to differentiate the structure of EIP compared to IIP, right? The normal internship that people would normally, like most year three students would go for. So um initially when I first started EIP, I think we were like really lost because the first day like we just sat in the office and then we were like, oh, this is really EIP. Like we didn't nobody was there to push us. Like it was just the two of us in the office, really. And then we have like a empty whiteboard in front of us for us to plan our task. And then for the first like half of the morning, like as usual, like as normal students, we were just like slacking because like there's nothing to do. Like we thought like the OED team would like send us, okay, send us this, send us that, but no. And then we realized, okay, actually no one was there to push us, so let's get to work ourselves. So we just decided to write out some tasks on our list and things like that. So I think for EIP, if you're moving into EIP, what to expect is that you have to have very very good management and you have to be very disciplined, or else nobody will be there to like push you and things like that. So if you don't do like certain things, then it's just like entirely up to you. So it's important to really go into it planning different milestones of your journey and then try to work on them lah.
Could you share more with us, how did you plan, your milestones, your tasks throughout EIP?
Yeah, sure. So I think most of the time, I think as we all know, the EIP we will need to submit Gantt chart as well. So you guys will probably need to submit Gantt chart to the OED. Not sure the interval, but you guys will probably need to submit your Gantt chart once a while. This is important. This is not a chore because this a lot. So I think when you first move into EIP, you have to do a Gantt chart in general for your 6 months journey. So that's just a very general one. So don't get too stressed about it because after you will realize that the Gantt chart didn't really turn out like what we planned. But it's good to plan out things first. So number one, just structure things out on a Gantt chart. So once you got the key milestones, like okay, so plan out like okay, monthly goal, and then from monthly goal from the big monthly goal you try to plan out the weekly goal. So spread it out into 4 weeks, right? And then from weekly goal you can then structure into daily. So that's what we always do. So we just chunk down our goals. And there's a lot of like apps and a lot of software you can use, to do this and things like that. So that's just a quick tip on like time management.
What was your monthly goal?
I guess I think for most startup it's very very like volatile. I would say there isn't a fixed routine. Since we're not doing internship, right? We're doing entrepreneurship. So that should be the spirit of anything, anytime, right? So for us, especially since we're doing like food tech and things like that, well, we can say that sometimes we're in the office and most of the time we're in the lab, so we spend about a lot of time in the lab. In fact, we spent about like maybe a few months in the lab working on the project. So most of the time we were either like in the office doing research, or we can even like at home mostly doing the research. And then then we will go to the lab to try out some new things, try out ingredient A, B, C, D. If it doesn't work, we stop with E, F, G. And then we we do some lab tests. Sometimes we have to meet some clients to pass on our samples and things like that. So it's a very non-fixed journey, I would say. So there's a lot of twists and turns, so which is what makes it exciting.
Awesome. So speaking about twists and turns, right? Was there any point in time, right, during EIP where you thought, alamak, this is not going well, maybe we were gonna fail. Was there any point in time you and your team felt like that?
Yes, definitely. I think that is very important. Like I think we have to emphasize that most of the time, like there's gonna be a lot of times in when you do your own startup where I think that it's not gonna go well when you hit a roadblock, right? So for us, let me think. I guess it was probably during the product development phase. Like our first batch, it was like we did the first batch and we had a phase like I thought it went well. I was very proud of myself for making the bar like look very nice and things like that. Until we tried it, it like tasted like so salty. We had to throw the whole batch away, like literally. So and then we keep trying and then the texture is not good enough. It feels like very mushy. And then and then when we showed our mentors or like some friends or teachers, like many people like gave like very very like not nice comments that say it looked like some weird stuff, things like that. So we were like, maybe cannot lah. Maybe it isn't. Maybe we cannot make it out of scratch, because we invent the recipe ourselves. So like we were like, okay, maybe we can't do this lah. But then we kept trying. We kept doing, and then we finally achieve a recipe, a formulation that is even better than market samples, because we did a evaluation where we compared our samples. We bought in samples from Europe and Thailand, and after that, with over 100 participants, our products fed higher than those commercial samples. So I guess it was really a very fulfilling journey for us.
Awesome, great. Thanks for sharing that. I'm just really curious. So how many cricket bars have you eaten?
Oh, uncountable. Definitely uncountable. Too many. Yeah.
So let's zoom in a little bit, right? So can you give us like the actual what happened? Like you realize it's too salty, and then you realize that that's not good enough to pass EIP. Is it? And therefore you cannot seem to progress, right? So what did you do, and what was your mindset then?
Yeah, for I think for us it wouldn't be about whether passing EIP or not, but for us it was more like, can we sell or not? Because me and my co-founder John, we both exercise frequently as well, and we both consume protein supplements, so we know we have a benchmark in our head already. Okay, our products must meet this target, or else it's definitely gonna fail, right? So so yeah, so that's what so for us, I think we just kept we knew that we kept trying. I would say we kept trying. We didn't give up. Thankfully, both of us we have a very similar style that we don't give up easily. So that's good, I guess. And then we just kept trying. We went to look at other protein bar recipe. We look at tons of recipes, and we just try to highlight a few common ingredients that they all have. And then we went to approach our school of applied science. Do you have this chemical? Can we try this instead? So it's a trial and error process. Yeah.
Awesome. I like the part. I really like the part that you say that your goal is to sell, right? And it's not just paper talk, right? You actually want to launch something, and you actually want to sell something. So what's the difference, do you think, right? It is between coming out with a good business plan on paper, drawing out the business model canvas, versus actually trying to sell, trying to commercialize and launch your startup? What's the difference?
Yeah, I think this is a very, very good question. I think for business plan, anyone can do it, right? So if you're launching if you want to launch a cafe, you can also write a business plan for the cafe. If you want to do a normal drop shipping store, you can also write a business plan for that. But whether that idea is doable, and whether is it viable if you want to really go and commercialize it, right? So if we're talking about cafe, it's a very, very crowded space, so it's it definitely wouldn't be considered a startup. So a startup, I think, would be something that's game changing. I think that's one of the important words that should be stuck into you guys should be aware of. It should be something that is solves the problem, right? It shouldn't be just some not like it can be existing solution. It can be existing solutions in the market, and that way you probably have to build a better mousetrap to for it to work, if you want to succeed as a startup. So I think most important, like what I said, it has to be something something new or an improved version of something. Then it can be considered a doable startup.
Okay. Is it me or my? I think there's a bit of
Yeah, I cannot really hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much for sharing that. Okay, so next question, right? During EIP, right? As you know, teams are actually provided with funding support, right? Could you share with us, right? What did you use the funding for? And what have you learned about handling money?
Yes, another very good question. So, one of the key benefits of joining EIP is that you get funded from the school, right? So for us, we didn't really have to pay during the early phase. We didn't have to fork our own money. So we were very glad to be funded by the OED. So, however, it's important. Also for just sharing first. So basically we spent our money. Our first spending of money was buying ingredients, of course, since we are doing a food tech setup. So we spend it heavily on ingredients. Um, um, yeah, so ingredients and what else? And then after moving on, we spend it on lab tests as well. So individual lab tests, and then packaging, things like that. So these are just I'm just listing a few lah. There's much more, but ingredients are one of the most heavily spent one. And what I've learned in after that is that yes, there is money, but it's not easy to claim. So it was the claiming process. Of course, after all, we are using the taxpayer money, so I think it's very important to be initially I was getting a bit frustrated because let's say our request was stuck or cannot approve, but then after all we will at least we understand that hey, we should at least it really taught us how to be like prudent with our money and spending so so I think what's important to know is that you have to try to spend it like treat it as it's your own money because that's like don't get into the mindset where it's like free money, just spend whatever you want. So that shouldn't be the case. Initially we were kind of that but then we like okay maybe not. But then now we are like kind of experts in like writing the AOR, the funding thing So I think we learn a lot.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. I think it's heartening to see that you understand because a lot of times students come to us, they think if I get funded I can pay myself a salary.
Yes.
That's not going to happen, right? It's more of giving you the opportunity to develop your prototype, right? And then in doing so, we wanted to students to learn, right, how they can make the most, right, out of a tight budget, right, to find the cheapest vendor or the cheapest source, right? So I think it's really good because as you begin your startup journey, startup is about lean resources, right? You're doing more with the little that you have, depending on yourself. So I thought that was kind of the rigor that we put you all through, although sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but I'm really glad that you learned from it.
That's right.
Awesome. So now looking back, how do you think you would be different if you had embarked on regular internship, IIP instead of EIP?
That's something that I don't want to think about because I think that it will be very, very different. I would say that really like joining EIP is really like one of the biggest like game changing thing that really happened like in RP I would say. I'm not saying like I'm not like in no way am I like throwing shit at like IIP or things like that. Everyone have different goals. Joining like doing internship at a very big company might be good for your portfolio as well. But for me like I've never like I prefer like to work on my own project. I prefer to work on for myself. So I think if you join IIP, you can expect a more I would say comfortable. You can expect a more comfortable routine life, right? A 9 to 5 intern life. So that's for sure. But if you join EIP, if you should expect an uncomfortable, both internally and pressure from maybe OED, which is good, healthy pressure. Sorry, wait, something blocked. So pressure and a lot of unstable working hours. That's for sure, of course, and like a lot of twists and turns. So that is but of course the rewards are much better lah. If you work hard, definitely the rewards you can reap better rewards in EIP lah. And EIP is really there's a lot of opportunities here. So if you really have passion, if you really have a goal, a solution that you really think you really believe in it, then I strongly suggest you to join EIP and really work on it lah.
Awesome. That's great. That's a great answer. I've got a question here from Alice. So when do you see the light coming to your project? Right. I think you mean like the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing.
Yes.
You think you're close to that, or are you still trying to muddle your way through?
That's a great question, right? So if for the first few months of EIP, we felt like we were trapped in some tunnel without no light. So we were like, we were like literally just walking without a map. And it was fully dark, right? So we were just exploring ourselves. Um, but I guess like what really that's when we win competitions, right? So when we participated in competitions like either and we won, that is that is a small affirmation. And then when went on the NTU competition as an ideal thing, we didn't won, but we at least we like qualified in top 30 startups national. So I think that again is a big achievement. So it's this small milestones that really keep us going, right? And then we went on to National Youth Entrepreneurship Awards. Then because of winning the National Youth Entrepreneurship Awards, it opened us to a lot of media, interview opportunities. And then from the media interview, we hear from them that we hear from the journalists themselves that they are very interested into this. And when they publish it out into the public, a lot of people come to our website, a lot of people place pre-orders, a lot of people email us. This is probably this is where things start getting a bit brighter for us. We were like, hey, perhaps our solution might be doable. It might be actually a proper solution to address the unsustainable meat production, and it's the right timing to address it So I guess that is when we kind of see the light throughout our journey.
Just to build on that question, what do you think is the difference, or how different did it felt, right? From the start, right? When, like you said, you were muddling through the darkness, right? And then now that you've gained suddenly, right, so much traction with the media and the public, how do you feel different?
Right. So I guess this is a very good question. So when we first started, so just go back to the analogy of being trapped in the tunnel. So often when you're working, like without any light, right? You just keep you can keep walking for a few hours, but eventually you get tired, right? And you were probably like, it's okay, I don't even know, I'm probably trapped here, I can't get out. Same thing happened for us. A lot of times we just like gave up for like a few weeks. Like we just like a few days we just didn't do anything at all. So yeah. So there was during when we first started, there were a lot of like a lot of like pauses in our journey, like do this and then stop, give up, continue again, give up, get back up, stop, give up. But nowadays, like ever since we've gotten a lot of publicity, we have really gained a lot of momentum, and it's good because we are getting a lot of traction, and now we are keep pushing. We're pushing on new flavors, right? And then more people contact us to interview, right? MediaCorp like just spoke to me a few days ago. They're interested to film us for some of their video series. So see, it's just one small Straits Times that started. Straits Times was the first media thing that started, and then now we're in almost like a lot of media coverage. So it really gained a lot of momentum. So of course we must keep up with the momentum. If I don't reply to any of them, nothing will happen, right? So I have to be very active and I have to keep going. And I think most important is momentum. Yeah.
Sorry, before I move on to a question on the chat channel, why do you think the media is so interested in you?
Well, I think number
Don't tell
one
me
is
good looking, huh?
no, I'm not sure about that, but I think number one is because we are providing them content that their users would be interested to see. And most important is because we are doing something new, something that nobody has done before in Singapore. Like what I mentioned, nobody has ever tried with insects before. So this is a very big scoop for the media, right? So I think what we can take away from this is that if you guys want to do, when you guys move into entrepreneur like this EIP program, right, try to do something like new, or if not like a better mousetrap. Don't just do another e-commerce store or like things like that you definitely can make money, a lot of money if you're doing e-commerce, but it's hard to get the ball rolling. So for us, what really stood us apart is insect food, right? So it was a double-edged sword, it was really a double-edged sword. So on the bad side, a lot of people always throw us question, how can we like convince people to eat our products, which we always give them a right answer. And then of course, the good part is that novelty, so novelty it can attract people as well. So that's it.
Awesome. So I got this question here. What is your plan, right, for your business, right, given that you have to enter NS soon? How do you tackle that?
Wow, this question, this is our number one question when we pitch to it, or when investors or when we apply for grants, that's what they always like to ask us. So thank God we've already familiarized ourselves with this question. So I think number one is that I still have some time before I go NS, luckily, like October. So we aim to like settle things. We aim to structure everything out first. And then right now actually we have two other teammates in our company, and we also have we are also working with a nutritionist that has a stake in our company, things like that. So so when we do go to NS, those people will be running our other we will delegate the main task for our other team members, and other colleagues to run the front end of the business right? And NS is definitely not something that I'm worried about, because I'm just going to continue running it, whether after my when I come back or during the weekend. So it's okay, I guess, for us.
Nice. So you're building a team.
Yes, we are in the midst of building a team and things like that. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, next question. How do you prepare yourself to do a good sales pitch in front of audience, investors, and competition?
Very good question again. For this one, I think that, as cliche as it may seem, I think
ask your mentor.
No. As cliche as it may seem, I think practice is very important. So when we first started, I guess I was in no way good at presentation. I was I wasn't even confident at myself. The first competition that I joined, some Active SG hackathon, it was like a team of 4. I didn't even present, because I was I thought I couldn't, so I just let my friend do the presenting. And then I keep joining many competitions. So as I keep joining many competitions, I tend to be more confident, right? So that's just on the confident part. And if you talk about the and most importantly, when we do about sales pitch in general, you have to believe in your product and you have to sell it. So so you cannot just do a product for its novelty factor. So if I'm just doing insight for the sake of insight, without really believing it, then it cannot be conveyed through my pitch to other people. But for me, I'm really passionate about it, and I've read extensively about insects. I've read a whole UN textbook about all the edible insect species, which so anytime people ask me some stuff about insects, I'm like, okay, I got the answer at the back of my head. I know which insect is edible, how much protein, how much things like that. So I guess you must have something that you're really passionate about, because if you have something you're passionate about, you will take the time to learn and really dig into it. And then if you have that knowledge, right, it will be very, very visible in your pitch to whether it's investors or competition. So that's it.
Nice. All right. Okay, so I got the question from this student, Kai Yuan. Now, how did other people like Straits Times find your product? Do you do any advertising? How do you attract them?
So in fact, for all our media features so far, we have paid $0 to be featured in all our media. How to do it? So the secret is that like what I said, Straits Times was the first media article. So it was referred by, what was it? Oh, I remember, because we won the IDA competition. And then RP Corporate Comms just sent out an email to I think like a PR kit to all the different media outlets. They're saying, hey, we have this startup in RP that won our competition. Would you like to interview them? So they sent out to a bunch. Initially, they sent out to over 20. And then they said only 2 of them replied, Straits Times and Sao Paulo. But it was good enough because Straits Times has very good authority. So this is how it works for media, right? Once a media company publishes something, all the other media company will want to follow suit. So really, in the next few months, the next few days, a lot of companies started, the smaller ones, I would say. Okay, the next one right after Straits Times and Sao Paulo was CNA, which was another big one, and then after that, subsequently, we have a few other medium ones. So I guess it's about like a dominoes effect, So to give any word of advice, just participate in competitions and things like that, because when you win, or whether is it new, if you don't win, if it's something cool, the organizers might also blast it out to the news, and that's how it works.
All right, awesome. So let me get to Faye's question. How did you find a team who is also willing to devote themselves to the startup? Or maybe you can share with us, right? You and John, what's your relationship like? And how you meet him?
That's a very good question about team in general. Yeah, I can share about my team first. So basically, I started this startup with my co-founder John. How I met him is we are both in biotechnology. He's my good friend he's my friend since year one. Um, we've been in the same class, we've been in the same course. In fact, when during year three, I was the one that I wanted to go overseas internship initially to Indonesia, and then he couldn't like go for like overseas internship, so he was like, but he wanted like to still like hang out with me, so he was like, hey, why not join this EIP program? At least we can still chill and like hang out together in school. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And because of COVID, and anyways, I couldn't join like overseas internship. So yeah, so like that's how we started initially. We started off as good friends, and we complement each other because he's in specializing in research. I'm specializing in food. So and then we already have like existing synergies in whether is it friends or in game that works as well. We game together, so that works as well. So yeah, that's it.
So maybe I can delve a little bit deeper, because just now you were saying that you are trying to build a team, right? So what are some of the considerations, right? Now that you sort of have a bit more clarity, right? What Ultimate Nutrition is all about.
Right. So I think this question is very good because ever since we've been publicized quite a bit recently, we have a few like people contacting us to know more about us, whether is it like wanting to like join us or like wanting to invest in us or things like that. But I think most important when you look at our team, it must be someone that believes in our idea as well. And considering that we're doing something very niche, something new, right? We have to really know whether this person is just wanting to join you to ride the wave, ride a popularity wave, gain some like quick cash, or whether they're really passionate about of your idea like in general. So just give another example. Right yesterday I just spoke to like one angel investor in RP. So why I actually decided to like quickly speak to like I organized a meetup session with him like very very fast. Why is because he emailed to me. He reached out to me. He said that previously he wanted to do insect protein supplements as well, but then he hesitated too much, so he was quite slow. He even sent me his pitch deck before that. So he said now he's working on another project now. So definitely he's not a competitor. But for me, I was like, okay, this guy is like a very very big star because he is interested in the project as well. He's very passionate about insect food as well. So definitely will be a valuable asset to our team. So I quickly met out with him, and we're trying to see maybe in a few weeks time or in a few months time he might invest. We're still discussing that soon.
Wow, awesome. It sounds very interesting. Okay, so I have another question. Product first or idea first?
Definitely. Wait, product first or idea first? I think definitely idea
So
first, right? You need the idea first, then you can make the product, right? So I think that's quite straightforward, right? So you should have the idea first. You must have a sense of. But maybe to improve the question, I would say goal first. Have a goal first, like what you're like, or have a end game, like what you're trying to solve first. I think have a goal, and then you can have brainstorm many different ideas, and then select the right idea, and then come up with a product.
Nice. So let me ask you one, right? So now you've completed EIP, you've just graduated from RP. What are some of the opportunities you have now, and how are you thinking about them? What are your considerations?
Right. So yeah. So since we're not like right now, I graduated from RP officially this year. But we're still working closely with the OED, Office of Entrepreneurship Support. So they've been really like guiding our startup and like helping us, giving us a lot of advice. But of course, I think the ocean is very big, right? So recently we've also there's a few incubators that have contacted us. There's a few food incubators. It doesn't mean that we have to leave RP. It's not binding, not like it's not like choose this or that. Definitely not that at all. So we are in talks with them whether we should be incubated by them as well. And also other stuff about VCs about investments and things like that. So all this recently we've been trying to work on that because we need to fundraise soon because we are gonna scale up soon and fulfill our bulk orders. So in order to do that we need to fundraise soon. So recently it's just about I think there's a lot of opportunities, whether is it developing new products, which is we are very we're working it right now. We're working on new flavors of protein bars, and also looking at for new incubators and things like that.
So what are the other incubators offering you?
Uh, uh, yeah. So I think most incubators what they offer you is mentor grants, things like that. I think it's quite common. But why we are considering the one incubators for now, because they are like a food incubator in Singapore. So they have, it's like most startups in the incubator are food. I mean, in fact, all startups in the incubator are food based. So we would like to be part of the ecosystem. Because I think in entrepreneurship, I think it's important to join an ecosystem as well. Where you guys can help each other and things like that. So that's why so that is a big like it's quite attractive to us. And the other incubators, we have a few others, like from SMU, for example, who just contacted us like a few weeks ago. Also, as a standard, I would say they will just give you it's like EIP basically. For them, it's like a 4-month long thing. They give you access to grants, SG founder grant, things like that. So yeah, so when you're choosing incubators, also make sure that they have what they offer lah. So we haven't accept any incubators yet.
But how are you, weighing them? Like, how do you decide which one is better for you?
Yeah, so I think for me, for us, right, we look at it, like what I said, the ecosystem is very important. Because okay, we look at incubators, a lot of incubators in Singapore that actually they are all part of like what we call accredited mentor partners, right? AMPs, that they can help you get the SG Founders 50,000 grant. So there's a lot of incubators that can do that in Singapore, but you have to consider what is their niche. Are they when we talk about incubators, I think from my research there's a few incubators that are specifically industry focused. They're on tech, some is on food, some is everything, right? So things like NUS Enterprise, Pollinate, these are the incubators that are doing more of like everything. So for me, for incubators that are doing everything, well, if I would prefer like for us, we would consider incubators that are focused into our niche, which is food tech, sustainability, agri tech. So that's a very very important part of our decision. We want to choose incubators that are focused into our niche, because then they will have the relevant expertise, experience into helping us. So that's I think that's a big decision point.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. So I've got a really interesting question from Muhammad Daniel here, right? So he shared that he's just graduated from STA and interested in starting ground zero, right? So any tips, right? Where to start? What's your take for beginners?
Okay, wait, I'm just reading. Graduated from STA DSA this year. So enroll on a course related to entrepreneurship in university, is it? You mean like? Well, okay. So I think this is a very good question. So I think most people my background. Okay.
Yeah. So I think, was it Daniel who was trying to on his mic?
I don't know. Actually, it's not very loud. So.
Okay, I think it's gone now.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah. Okay. So back to the question. Starting from ground zero about entrepreneurship. So I think so first I think there's a lot of opportunities. You can work with OED first. Since if you have an idea, think of what you want to do first. Think of a problem that you want to try to solve, and then come up with a solution first. So you don't even need a product. You just need an idea, a solution, right? So once you have a solution, make it on a proposal, and then just just send it to OED or something. I think they'll be more than happy to support you. Of course you can pitch it to other incubators as well. It's not restricted. If you're doing food, if you're doing food like a food tech as well, feel free to pitch it to a food incubator. And then once you join an incubator, this is where things really help to speed things up, right? compared to doing it alone, you know, definitely it's okay doing it alone as well. But if you do it with an incubator, and considering that you're starting from ground zero, right? Like us, like us as well, we're starting from ground zero. So join an incubator. Yeah, you don't have to join a course related to entrepreneurship, lah. Just join because when you join a lot of like courses, you know, those online courses, it's just consuming. You need to produce to get started. So I think that's the most important part.
Nice. I like that. I like that. So it's not just about thinking and downloading information, but actually applying it. And to do so, right, you have to join competitions, pitch to people, get yourself into teams, and of course, like Gabriel said, right, feel free to get in touch with OED, right? We have a ton of programs, activities, resources, and you know, if you have any idea, you want someone to bounce off, feel free. I'll leave our contact details shortly at the end, right? So you can sort of get in touch. But I think we have just time for one more question. Let me see. Or anyone wants to turn on their mic and ask Gavriel directly, please go ahead. Anyone?
Yes.
Okay, why not I ask Gavriel this. In terms of product development, you have two flavors now, right? Peanut butter and chocolate.
Yes, correct.
So what are you working on next?
Right now we're working on green tea, matcha green tea. We're going back to the food lab on Friday to work on matcha green tea. We have also come up with a prototype of almond Nutella flavor already.
Do you want to share with the students, you know, the QR code?
Yes, sure. I mean, I've just someone asked about incubators, so I was searching about that, so someone just asked on incubators. So incubators wise, first step, just go for OED first. Definitely try to reach out to OED first. But of course I just sent a list of like incubators as well if you want to refer to them. Just, you know. For the QR code, wait, let me see. Yeah, so because we are working on a few new flavors, right? So in a few months, in a month or two, we are going to have a sensory testing. So you guys will be the first to try our product. So if you guys are interested, please scan this QR code. Just have to put your details, and then we will contact you. You guys can be the first to come down to our lab and try it, lah. So I'm flashing the QR code on the screen right now. So it's just a Google form. So, huh?
Safer.
Yes. So yeah lah, just maybe like put it here for maybe like a minute more. So just scan it with your phone if you want. So what will happen is very simple. You are gonna be our validator. We will order other samples from Europe, you know, from other countries from our competitor, and then we will do a blind taste test, which means that you guys will know what you're tasting, which brand is which. So you will give your most honest feedback of your review of our product, and then we will, you know, analyze the data and then determine whether, okay, this version pass or not, can go market or cannot, right? So this will be what we are doing. So if you're interested, please scan this QR code, but please note that our products are not halal, so just only if it's applicable to you, then please participate if you would like.
All right, awesome. Okay, one last question. How do you come about the number of products to market first? How do you decide?
This question, how do you come about the number of products? I guess there isn't a fixed answer. Yeah, I guess there isn't a fixed answer. I would say there isn't a fixed answer for this. So definitely there isn't a fixed number for it. But if for us it was because we are doing something new, so we just want. I think 2 is a good number, right? 2 was a good flavor for us to start off with first. But I think in general, when developing the product line for protein bars, right, we aim to expand into other products. So we want to make sure that our current protein bar line is established first. So we aim to have at least about 5 flavors before we branch out to another product category like muffins or something like that. So I guess 1 or 2 is a good start, right? Because you wouldn't want to spend too much time working on multiple flavors when you cannot even validate the initial prototype. So start off with 1 or 2 first, and then once everything goes well, branch it out.
All right, awesome. Right, I think we are just about have enough time for those questions. Thank you so much, Gabriel and Gabriel today for joining us today. So not only we have been treated right to the very interesting origin story of Ultimate Nutrition. I think students got a few tips and insights, right, how they can make the most out of Entrepreneurial Immersion Program (EIP). I think in particular, what struck me was Gabriel's entrepreneurial mindset. Right, they face challenges, but they always figure out right how to get from the darkness to the light. And then overcome obstacles. I think they have this sense of initiative, right? Not waiting around to be told what to do, but they plan ahead, right? So that's really good. I also like that they're very experimental. So they always tinker in the lab even now, right? Come up with new flavors and all that, new formulas. So they use their funding well, right? Doing a lot with very relatively few resources. So if you're a student, you'd like to know more about entrepreneurship, let me share my screen here. Yep. So if you're a student, you'd like to know more about entrepreneurship, do subscribe to our mailing list. Also, if you have an idea, not too sure what's the next step, need some guidance, please come and speak to us. Right. Our email is helpstartup@rp.edu.sg. I think we are also on Instagram. We put out quite a lot of content related to entrepreneurship. So with that, we have come to the end of the talk. I think there's still a few questions here, but do reach out to Gabriel directly, right? If you'd like to his advice or his thoughts on some of the issues. Otherwise, for students attending the bootcamp, I will see you right on Thursday morning on our MS Teams channel. For the rest, thank you all for tuning in. So stay safe and goodbye. Thanks so much, Gabriel. All the best.
Maybe I'll just stay back for a bit to answer the questions because there's some like one or two more questions. So
okay, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So do you source for media to publish your company, and how do you source for it? Actually, so far, we actually it's not the one that is sourcing the media. They're the ones that approach us. So the first Straits Times one also was the school helped us to source. So we actually didn't do any sourcing at all. Yeah, but okay, maybe that's one. So that's one Israeli podcast company. So what happened was like I connected with their founder on LinkedIn, and then I saw what they're doing. So I was like, I just introduced myself and things like that. And then they were like, hey, maybe we're having a podcast on this. Maybe you guys could speak. And I was like, sure, definitely. So it's good to always like try to like reach out to as many people as possible. But most importantly, try to reach out to the. I think if you participate in competitions like what I mentioned, and then the RP corporate comms will also try to spread it out. Most important is once you get one or two big media companies, then it will be like a dominoes effect. Yeah, so that's that. And then the second question is there any instance where you had to deal with people's perspective about cricket? Since it is not very common to eat insect products in Singapore, how do you manage to convince consumers or investors? Oh, it's a very great question that I was waiting for someone to ask. Definitely there is a stigma, there is a social like there's very like there's a perception associated with insects that or it's not clean, it's dirty or associated with poverty or things like that. So to answer your first part, yes, there is a lot of sometimes when we went to like let people try, they always have people like like telling us about like what they feel about insects, say that maybe you shouldn't do this because I feel that insects are not are not clean or things like that. But of course that's what they feel, right? So you don't have to you just work on your own business. Second part is how do you manage to convince consumers or investors? So for us, we like what I mentioned, insects are very nutritious, not just in protein, but also in other nutrients like vitamin B12 and iron. So we aim to position our products as an all-in-one nutrition supplement that could be a solution to developing countries. It could be a food solution to them to help them to get their nutrition needs as well. So we position our products as a whey protein replacement. We aim to replace animal protein. So it's important that we position ourselves as that, and we don't position ourselves just for the novelty factor where we ask people to try insects for fun. So yeah, that's how we manage to convince our investors and consumers. Any other questions? Just feel free to drop it here. I'll just stay around for like 5 more minutes if you guys have any other questions. If not, I'll be leaving.